back to another video. So in today's video I got my family to choose what I read for a week. So I got each person in my family to choose a book for me, and I obviously didn't film that, but I'll show you what book they chose for me now. I'm going to read them during this week. My dad chose A God of Wrath by Rena Ken. I'm not too sure what this one's about, but it's the third in a series. It says, what started as an innocent mistake turns into actual hell. In my defense, I didn't mean to get involved with the mafia prince. Okay, that one sounds really interesting. Excited to continue with the series, as the first book, I think I rated 3 stars, and then the second book I rated 3.5 if I remember correctly. Then my mom chose The X Talk, and I'm so happy about this one because this one's been on my TBR for way too long. It needs to get off, and I did start reading it, I think it was like last year or the year before, and it just weren't the time. But it's something to do with like a podcast, and they're like enemies who are doing the podcast. I'm not too sure, but I think that's what I've heard people say. And then my sister chose Scarred by Emily McIntyre, and this is the second book from Hooked. I would like to complete the series before the year ends, so I'm glad that she chose this one. This one is based off The Lion King, I believe. Then my brother chose Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. This one is more of a recent one, but it says when 19-year-old Abby gets the opportunity to study abroad for a year in London, it's the perfect chance to finally slip out from under the thumb of her beloved but overbearing retired rock star father. So I'm going to guess it's about a woman who's finding freedom. Yeah, I don't know too much about this one. I haven't really heard it being talked about much, but I'm excited to start it. So those are the books that I'm going to read. I'm not sure what one I'm going to start yet, but once I start reading them, I'll let you all know. So I read Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy, and I am going to be so for real with you. I did not like this book. I did decide to rate it 1 star. I was so close to DNFing this book. The only reason why I didn't was because I switched to the audio and decided to diamond paint, and that kind of distracted my mind. If you used to ask me what this book was about, I could tell you a little bit, which I'm obviously going to do, but most of the things just like left my brain. I don't think I was really focusing on it because I was just so bored the entire time. Like, I just, storyline of it was just so boring. It wasn't for me. Also, our main character, Abby, was so annoying throughout the whole book. I just did not like her as a character. This is literally just about an American in London, and I feel like it was just so not realistic at all. I felt like it overdid it with like the London stuff and the American being in London. It was like, I don't know, a 2000s movie type thing, and I just didn't enjoy that. Another thing I did not like was her messing around with 2 boys at once. I thought this was a love triangle, but it's not. It's mainly, well, it is sort of, but it's just, it doesn't feel like a love triangle. That's all I'm going to say. It's just her messing around with 2 boys at once, and it bothered me so much, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I like romance as well. Obviously it's like the obvious person, and the way she always obsessively talking about her famous father, despite claiming how much she hates the attention from it. And I felt like she was just always, she was definitely obsessed with herself. She was always talking, like, it's good to talk highly about yourself, be confident, but it was always, everything was about her. I just did not like that. I don't like that in a character. I just don't like that attitude, and I didn't like her as a character, and that just, I feel like that's what ruins the whole book for me. So that is all I have to say about that one. Yeah, I just didn't like it, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, give it a go if you want. I don't want to tell you what to do because the choice is completely up to you, but I didn't like it. So I have read The X Talk, which has been on my TBR for a while, a very long time, and I'm so glad that I finally read it. I did decide to rate this 4 stars as I actually really enjoyed it. So the trigger warnings for this is grief and a loss of a loved one, so those are the triggers. You should be warned up before going into it. But this is about Shay, who has always dreamed about working in radio ever since she was a little girl, and who listened to NPR with her dad. Her dad passed away when she was 18, and Shay took it hard, but she ended up working in radio and loves her job. For the new hire, Dominique, he walks around like he owns the place, and the boss loves him. When Shay's job is at risk, she proposes a new show about exes talking about romance and relationships, and that boss decides Shay and Dominique need to pretend to be exes and run the show. They do. The more time they spend together, the more they start feeling for each other. So I loved how adorable Shay and Dominique were together, and their banter. Their banter was something in this book, and it always was one of those things that would like make you giggle, and you know, it was fun, and I love that. They have to spend more time together to get to know each other, so they can be authentic exes, and the trip that they took together was just the best. I loved how they were forced to spend time together, and it was so great how they started to like each other, but they didn't want to jeopardize their jobs. Now in this book, the heroine is older, which normally I'm not really into in books. If you've been here for a while, you know, but in this book I didn't actually mind, and it is only a small one, so it's not something that you can like really notice or, you know, take much attention of, which is probably why I read it a little bit more. But I didn't mind it in this book. This book was just filled with so many cute moments, and I loved how it revolved around a radio show. I thought it was really fun. It was new and different to me, and I would highly recommend this book if you are into like radio show ones. Going into this, I thought it was like a podcast, but obviously it's not, but it's more of a radio show. So yeah, that is the other book that I read. Okay, so I thought I would give a little update. Sorry if the lighting is a little bit weird. I am using my phone torch. The next book I read was Scarred, and I read this a few days ago, but I just forgot to update, and I think that's because I don't really have much to say, if I'm being completely honest. All I can really say about it is I did rate it 2 stars, just because I feel like the story itself just really wasn't for me. I mean, I have always liked the Lion King movie, but I just feel like, yeah, it's a retelling, but I just felt like, I don't know, it didn't like reciprocate as like the Lion King. Like, I could obviously see the, you know, the similarities and stuff, but I don't know, obviously it just didn't feel the same. But this is a dark romance, of course it's not going to feel the same. But then this is also like a retelling of a bit of Hamlet as well. I think I've heard Hamlet, I don't really know well, like a story or anything about, so I didn't personally see anything about that, but that is obvious because I don't really know the story. The only thing that I would say about this one is that some of the smut scenes in it did shock me. Like, it's, you know, some of them I was like, wow, okay, they're doing this type thing, and in some places that are just like, you know, strange. That was like the only thing really. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't feel a connection between the characters, and I did find it a little bit not confusing, but I felt like it could have been a little bit more clearer in the sense of, so our main male character is the bad guy, but he's not the bad guy in the story. He's actually the good guy. It doesn't make sense. There is actually a bad guy, but he's the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so baffling to me. And the ending, I don't know, I felt like a little bit of disappointment there towards the end. I mean, honestly, that could have just been me, and I don't know. A lot of people love this one, a lot of people aren't a fan, and I think it was okay, but I didn't like love it and I didn't hate it. There were some times in the story where I was getting bored or felt like it was dragging on. I would definitely say I prefer the first book. The first book I rated 4 stars, so I'm hoping that the third book in the series I'll like a lot more. But even when I read the synopsis of Scarred, I was like, I just feel like this isn't going to be for me, and you know what, that is okay. Then I read God of Wrath, and this one, again, I don't really have much to say about it. Oh, I've wrote notes on my phone and I'm using it as a light. Let's see if I can. Okay, the lighting is gonna have to go a bit dark while I read this. Oh, okay. Within the second half of the book, that is when I loved things. Like, once the romance part started to happen, the beginning I felt like dragged on. I wasn't really a big fan. I was quite bored, but then once like the romance part hits into it, that's when things got more intriguing. And let's just say he definitely kind of gives a different vibe than the other 2 guys that have been in the series. Because, for example, a few things, like cute things that I loved, was when he finger combed her hair, counted her freckles, made food together, opened up to each other, helping each other with their past trauma, showing each other love in a million small ways. But they was also at the same time they were late to admitting their feelings. So there was like 2 things. Majority of them I loved so much. I thought they were so cute, and I was like, I love this. I love this. I don't know, I've noticed a kind of like a pattern with the books so far within the series where they're all kind of the same. Like, I'm not being shocked anymore, and I feel like the author has kind of written them similar. Now, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just noticing that they're quite similar in a way, and I'm going to be honest, nothing the main characters do within the rest of the series will shock me, especially not after God of Malice, because that one was a wild one, you know, like he is wild, so I feel like it couldn't get any worse than Killian. But I don't know, I think maybe I'm gonna say right now our main male character in the third book might be my favorite, just because he does more of like the cute things, the main female character. But then again, it was like both of them. It wasn't just one of them. One of them would have been annoying, like that would have kind of been like a miscommunication thing, but both of them, it took them a while to realize their feelings for each other, and it did get a little bit like, come on, like clearly both like each other, can we just admit it already? But it's like they both didn't know, and you could like tell that they both didn't know how they felt yet. It kind of like was a progression. I think that is all of my thoughts for that book. I had fun reading these books. Wow, Girl Abroad not so much, but I would definitely say X-Talk and God of Wrath was probably my favourites out of the 4. Yeah, I suppose we had a really bad one and we've had okay, like good ones. So that will be the end of today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave this emoji if you're watching until the end, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.